Hello everyone, we are here at the 70th Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. It was supposed to be last year, but of course because of Corona, it got cancelled. So here in 2021, we're celebrating 70-year anniversary of this amazing event. We had a great weekend coming in on Thursday, saw a lot of amazing things, but this is the pinnacle, the culmination of everything of Monterey Car Week. And let's start off over here. Beautiful 1914 Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost. What's really cool about this one is it actually retains the original body on the original chassis. So a lot of the Silver Ghosts have kind of been restored, but maybe the body was put in on a different chassis, whatever parts were available. But this one is fully original to the car, and it underwent a full restoration in 2005. It looks really amazing in this cream. The Silver Ghost has always been really my favorite Rolls-Royce. I feel it's the pinnacle of the brand. These are the most valuable Rolls-Royces to this day, and you can see why. Extremely elegant. And here's another Rolls. What we're seeing really here in this whole place is these are the most elegant, exquisite, and expensive cars in the world. We're seeing hundreds of millions of dollars on this 18th Fairway. Here is maybe my favorite class is the Class E, which is the Best of Show reunion. Each year, of course, there's a Best of Show winner of Pebble Beach, a very tough thing to judge. And here in this whole lineup of the Class E are all previous winners of the Concours from the past 70 years. We have quite a few. Let's start off with this beautiful 1931 Isotta Fraccini. This was the Best of Show winner in 1995. And it's really an example of Italian engineering with Danish design. This is the Tipo 8B, which is the high-performance version of the vehicle. Just under 30 of these vehicles were ever built, and only 3 examples are known to have survived into the 21st century. This example bears a singular body designed by Viggo Jensen and built by Dansk Carrosseriefabrik of Copenhagen and the Consul General of Denmark. Absolutely amazing. Here we see some absolutely fantastic classic Alfas. Look at this Packard. 1920 Packard 343 Murphy convertible sedan. What an awesome purple. I just love purple on a great looking car. Of course, many people love the R34 in midnight purple, but it used to be a much more common color on a lot of cars. Okay, over here we have 2 hispano-suizas that previously won. This one in 1972 and the other in 1989. And hispano-suiza is my favorite Spanish car manufacturer, and we can see why. These are really, really exquisite cars. Let's come over here and we'll see the interior of this. Look at this interior. The materials. The wood trim.
Car coming through.
This one won in 1989. What we're seeing here is really the best of, the greatest hits, all class winners from previous years. I just love the combo of white over red. Very classy. And yet another 1930 Mercedes-Benz Ss Roadster. This one really has a menacing presence to it, with that black over white. Long hood, 2-seat Roadster. Great.
So they needed to get them in and out quickly. When they ran out of the batteries, they would just drop it and put it right here because they were losing money. So they would just drop it.
How do they recharge it?
What's that?
How do they recharge the battery?
Oh, we just have a plug right there. We can just plug them in.
I mean, back in the day.
Oh, they would just start it. Yeah, they had their own chargers. Yeah, they would be in the shops.
Here's an early example of electrical powered vehicle.
Yes, it
Girl with the long hair will follow you. Follow her. The orange hat. Okay, over here we have two amazing vehicles from the Nethercut collection over in Silmar. It's a place I highly recommend you check out if you're in the area. They have one of the best private collections in the world. It's a really, I think, a great kept secret. I wish people, actually maybe more people shouldn't know about it so we can kind of keep it low key. But here we have Duesenberg, the one best of show of 1969. And then over here, we got a beautiful DuPont, the one best of show 1958. And as you can see here, a record-breaking 6 best of show winners from the Nethercut collection. And all these cars are viewable with no ropes, no nets. They're there. It's a tour you have to in advance get the reservations, but it's all free. And it's just amazing that these cars can be seen on a daily basis by the public. You don't have to come to the Concours to see a Concours level vehicle. What an awesome license plate luxury. And when you look into this DuPont, it's just an embodiment of luxury. And look, 1958 Best of Show winner. It looks just like it did back over 60 years ago.
Come back, you went too far.
Not too ostentatious, exactly what it should be. Over here we have an amazing Bugatti. It's instantly recognizable from its silhouette.
Walk towards.
Love the yellow headlights, which is of course emblematic of the French market.
Get on the road.
Okay, so here are 2 more vehicles from the Nethercut collection. Again, they won 6 Best of Show winners. There's a Duesenberg that's right here, but it's on the podium now getting an award. But over here we have 1929 Rolls-Royce Phantom 2 Town Car. And if you thought the Lincoln Town Car was a big vehicle, you ain't seen nothing. Look at this. Chauffeur driven, of course. So you got the driver out here. I love how he's always exposed to the weather. So if it's raining, snowing, he's out here getting pummeled, while the interior, it's isolated from the driver. You want to have, yourself and your passengers in luxury, and you don't want to see the driver and, hear him and all that stuff. So that's great. But this Daimler 66 I really, really love. Now, for those who don't know, I've heard a lot of people mistaken. They think Daimler-Benz, Daimler as Mercedes. But Daimler is actually a British car manufacturer that dates to the very early days of the automotive scene. And the 66 is a V12 engine, really 66 meaning 2 straight 6 engines lined as a V. So Daimler 66 has been in production for a while. I mean, even to I think not too long ago they were still being made, the 66, but as Jaguar, rebodied Jags, XJs, but with the V12 engine and the bodywork and kind of custom scenes from Daimler. So really cool examples of 2 British luxury vehicles.
Crocodile skin, leather interior.
Over here we have really a historical vehicle, 1930 Mercedes-Benz Ss Roadster. Of course, the SS and SSKs were developed by Dr. Ferdinand Porsche of obviously Porsche fame. But before even Porsche was a manufacturer, he was working on these amazing race vehicles. And there's quite a few races it won all throughout the 1920s into the early 30s. This being one of the best examples. Very few of these remain. And this is an award-winning vehicle for the racetrack that was developed with great Porsche technology, supercharging, very early stages of supercharging, that they got a lot of power, racing against all sorts of events, also in Italy against the Alfa-Romeos in the Mount Miguelia. So love to see these two. This was Best of Show winner in 2001.
His father, Phil Hill.
Same basic style.
Today is Broam. Please give him a warm welcome. This is his first year in his new role as Chief Honorary Judge. He is from St. Louis, Missouri, and is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer.
W, what did you get?
4 years. Are we restoring?
Now this is a great Duesenberg.
This is a very the advance is 1931, the advance that was won 2 years ago. And this one by the Honorable Michael Missouri. This is the only Pebble Beach winner that has actually been a winner for 2 years. And it is still our Best of Show winner for the next 3 hours.
In the Army. At an Army base in summer camp.
The car back. It seems an age ago that you won 2 years ago. What a piece. Thank you, Mike. 1978. In 1929, Duesenberg J won our top honors. It's currently owned by the Learmonth Collection in Palm Beach, California. Florida, sorry. Palm Beach, Florida. This lovely 1929.
Over here we have a 1929 Cunningham. It's a Series V510. Cunningham actually was producing the most expensive American cars of the 20s. By 1929, this was even more expensive than the Duesenbergs. Although the Great Depression took a toll on it, and they ended up being discontinued in the 30s. But this is a prime example, Best of Show winner of 1984. Cunningham, the most expensive American car of its era.
God bless you. Anyway, so that turned out. So that turned out to be
So this is what I love about being in Pebble Beach, because each time I think I've seen everything, I see something that I haven't seen before. And here we've got an example of that. 1965 Ferrari 365P Pininfarina. This was one of 2 365Ps that was ordered by the Fiat boss at the time. I believe his name was Agnelli. And this one has special bodywork by Pininfarina. And what's really special about this one is if you notice the steering wheel's right here in the middle. So you think McLaren F1 was the first kind of road car to use that center driving position. But really this car precedes the McLaren F1 by 26 years. And it's super, super advanced. Mid-engine V12 Ferrari, which Enzo at the time, he thought this was like, couldn't be done, it's too crazy. Little did we know that this would be the standard supercar Ferrari template. Mid-engine V12 rear-wheel drive Ferraris, which really became the norm. Another really cool option is look at this amazing sunroof here. Great visibility. This is like a pre-McLaren F1, before that thing was even a dream. And the design is just so insane. Look at the rear over here. Really extravagant. Quad exhaust pipes, triple tail lamps. They kind of remind me of a 64 Chevy Impala.
Thank you, Laura.
This is most definitely something you'll not see every day. I like the little model they got over here too. Spectacular. Okay, over here we've got an absolutely legendary Porsche racing car, the 1971 917K, which had a magnesium tube, which is very experimental at the time. But what this car did is it set a distance record at Le Mans that stood for 39 years. So this car drove 3,315 miles in 24 hours, and that record was not matched until 2010. Think about it, almost 4 decades of technology and it couldn't match this vehicle. And you can just see the body is in absolutely amazing shape. What's interesting about this one, I've actually seen it before when I was in Stuttgart over in the Porsche Museum. This is owned by the Porsche factory. So what's really cool also was that the racing drivers from the Martini racing team were not told what the tube was made of. They did not know what this chassis was really built from until after the race. Only then they said, hey, this is actually a magnesium shell. So very experimental material, but it proved extremely successful at Le Mans and is one of the all-time legendary racing cars. So as you can see, we are here at the Porsche 917 class. It's amazing to see all these legendary racing vehicles side by side here on the 18th fairway. This is the 1969 917, and this was actually featured in the movie Le Mans. If you've seen Le Mans, it was using this model. What happened, this was actually leading in 1969 by a 5-lap lead going 2 a.m. into the Le Mans race. And unfortunately, due to a misshift, the engine over-revved and the engine was destroyed, causing the car to be DNF, did not finish. But it still stands as a really perfect example of one, and I love the Gulf racing colors. Gulf Porsche, it looks just so right. Porsche sold this car to a Florida collector in the early 70s, and it's been in the US ever since.
The car is owned by the milestone since 2016. Coach work was completed by Murphy and Cassidy, College of Music.
Okay, so after we saw that hideous rendition of the new Countach on the prototype car lawn, it's really refreshing to see that the 50th year anniversary of the Countach is celebrated in great fashion over here. Starting with this one, this is the 1990 Countach. That was the last Countach ever completed. It has some overtones. This is the 25th year anniversary edition, so it has some redesign elements by Pagani. Of course, ended up making the very famous cars of their own right. But for now, this was the last one ever produced, and it's really amazing to think that the Countach started production in 1974, going into 1990, so over 3 decades of production. And this one is really spectacular. Coming around here, it feels just like the evolution of the design, coming to a perfect climax with this model. And we can see just a rainbow of Countaches over here. This is really my favorite Lamborghini design of them all. It's really emblematic of the 1980s, of course, but people again forget that it was really designed in the early 1970s, almost even the late 1960s. So what's amazing about it is that it looks just as futuristic now as it did back then. And from 74 to 1990, the car always looked ahead of its time. Another great characteristic is just how good this car looks in all these different hues. Really a Skittles, a smorgasbord of Countachs here. So now that I've seen two of these Lambos in purple over white, I think this is my new favorite color combo. Before I was kind of partial to white over red, but this is really extravagant. I love the license plate, 77 UFO, because really this looks like something out of this world. And especially in the 70s, can you imagine driving this thing in the mid to late 70s? This thing is like completely different from anything you'd ever see. This white interior, so clean. Just fitting for the era, that really bright white interior. This is again one of the 70s models from 1977, and of course there's a few different hues to it, but the main design language of it is the same throughout its history. Okay, over here we have the preservation class, the unrestored original vehicles, and this Cadillac here is my favorite, finished in desert rose metallic. This is my absolute favorite Cadillac ever made, the 1956 Cadillac Eldorado Broam. Now, what's really amazing about this one is it's all original, it's never been restored. This paintwork's absolutely fantastic. It looks immaculate all throughout. These things were astronomically expensive in 1957. They cost $13,000 plus, when a regular four-door Cadillac was about $4,700, and that was very expensive. And you could have a regular Chevy sedan for about $2,000. So putting it into perspective, this was a really, really exquisite car. And look at the interior. It looks brand new. It looks like you just came back into 1957. Again, there were only 400 ever built of these. About 300 of them were built in 1958, so being a 57, it's a very early model. The tail fins are at the perfect length, I think, and height, because it started to get a little more crazy a couple years from then, but this is where they were really at the perfect line, and it looks so futuristic. Everything was trying to be kind of like the jet engine stream, right? So it has that jet engine design.
Yeah, we should have all of these.
Suicide doors. This, you're sitting in the lap of luxury. I'm just amazed that this is unrestored and it's all preserved. And this example has remained in California its entire life. Its original owner was a doctor in Beverly Hills, and you can see you just preserved it. I can guarantee this thing hasn't spent a night outside the garage. Look at the paint here.
Totally. I had a brother who got in front of me.
Fittingly, award winner for the preservation class.
Yeah.
This thing needs to remain as is for the rest of eternity. So over here we have the ESO class. ESO is a more underappreciated and underknown Italian car manufacturer, but very nice designs on all of them. Designs by Bertoni. And this one, the ESO Grifo, is fully optioned, and the guy that ordered it with the most extravagant paint job you could get, the loudest one, this orange paint, and it has a 350 Chevy motor, so it's really high performance stuff. And a lot of these ESOs have American engines, American manufacturers, engineering, and Italian design, which is a great combination. Yeah, this is one of only 5 examples that was ordered with the factory sunroof, and it's a completely unrestored example, which is really amazing to see. Over here we have a really special car. It's a 1959 Cadillac Eldorado, And Eldorado, most of you know, is the one with the crazy tail fins, you know, convertible. This one is a 4-door hardtop sedan. So you're asking what's up with that? Well, only 99 of these were ever built. About 8 of them are known to exist. This is a Pininfarina Cadillac. And if you think that sounds strange, it isn't. Cadillac has had an alliance with Pininfarina for 60 years, starting in 1931 with the V16 Roadster, and lasting until 1991 with the Alante Roadster as well. But this one is a much more restrained looking car compared to the regular Eldorado, but it was also twice as expensive. It cost $13,075 in 1959, twice as much as the convertible Eldorado, and as a result, less than 100 were ever built. But it's really a beautiful example. Super luxurious. One of my favorite things is seeing pillarless hardtop sedans. Seeing no B-pillar, such an open and airy interior. Really great to see.
Fabulous that it's here right in front of us today. This car has actually had 12.
This is a perfect example of a combination of American-Italian styling morphed into one beautiful hybrid.
Exterior colors and finishes. Wonderful, wonderful car. This car is
coming around here.
They used our car here.
It still has these very iconic tail fins. It's jet engine design.
Not all of them had a double body. This article is beautiful.
Wow, look at this interior. It's something you can like just fall asleep and you sink into these seats. Thick leather, tons of cushioning.
It certainly is set off on this day.
Really an ultimate cruiser.
Obviously, this is a magical moment for us all. I'll be waiting for the first piece of Pininfarina car. Wonderful car, the prototype inspired by the aerodynamic of the beautiful styling.
I remember driving to Ford in the game Mafia 1. It's amazing to see in person.
To the early class, class T3 in third place. Ferrari 250 Rover GT.
Over here we have a very rare, one-of-one Duesenberg, 1935 Duesenberg SJ Morbid Meteor Speedster. And I'm going to read just from the manual here, from the guide, because it's a very interesting history. It's been in the mid-30s, Duesenberg decided to get back to its racing roots and make a concentrated effort for speed. So this Duesenberg Special, which later got the nickname the Morton Meteor. Why? Because it was raced on the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, was commissioned. Very interesting designs like the single headlight over here. Really flamboyant styling. And this thing set a new world record, averaging 135.5 miles per hour for 24 hours on the Bonneville Salt Flats. Think about it, that's in 1935. And this car was also sold in 2004 at the Gooding Company auction here in Pebble Beach for a record $4.5 million. Of course, that's been long surpassed by many other vehicles since, but at the time it was probably the most prolific and famous American car sold at auction for that price. So a really special car to see here, and really we're in the presence of royalty. Look at this insanely long exhaust pipe coming out. Over here we have the Best of Show winner at Pebble Beach 2003, which I believe was the first Pebble Beach that I was at. So I vaguely remember this car. I was quite young at the time, but I remember even back then this Atlantic body really was just out there for me, and kind of started my love of these classic 1930s vehicles. Of course, this is the 1936 Bugatti Type 575C, and it has the Atlantic body, which of course, as we know, different bodies on the chassis, but the Atlantic one is really the one that's sought after. And in the mid-1930s, John Bugatti started to build the ultimate high-speed and high-performance sports cars.
And it was only afterwards that I found out from an anonymous source that someone offered the owners of this beautiful Bugatti a whopping $125 million. Yes, you heard that right, and guess what? They turned it down. I mean, that's something that I just can't even think about. Absolutely insane money.
Okay guys, it's unfortunate, but the time has come to say goodbye here at the 70th Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. It was really an amazing event this year. One of my favorites I've ever been to. There's such a great diversity of stuff we've seen. And my biggest regret is that there was just not enough time to see everything. But that's just a hallmark of a great event with so many amazing cars. You can't appreciate each one in the amount of time. We were here 5 hours, it felt like it went by in 1 hour. So as we see the beautiful lodge behind us, we'll be here again next year for the 71st Concours d'Elegance. So join us then. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you next time.